Not a, big divine sign type thing, but just if I feel like there's a theme that I've been getting from God the last few months, it's been this question of, okay, you've read the Bible, that's great, good for you. It took you 40 years, but you finally read it.
You must have read it.
I read slow. I read it slow.
Well, it just took a little 20-year.
Yeah, there you go.
40 years. Whoa.
But you've read it and you've taught it in children's church and Sunday school and stuff like that.
And you know what?
Now, do you believe it?
I think that's the key, that faith plus action equals what you truly believe.
So Kenny's business.
You came with a whole lot of stuff, son.
Man, you've been gone. I haven't seen you. And how many?
1 week.
I haven't seen you.
Well, that ain't my fault.
No, I did see you. I
I
take that back. I did see you twice,
Yeah.
3 times in 3 days.
I saw y'all weekend.
I know, man.
We even
That's
ate
what I
supper
heard.
together. We couldn't talk, but we ate supper together.
We couldn't talk what we want to talk about.
That's right.
Yeah. We had to go to. He was amazing. Man, you got to listen to it. Have you ever heard a preacher preach less than their prayer?
Well, you told me
Last
he
time.
did. You told me that his part was less than the prayer. The
It
prayer
was like 2.
But was it a long prayer or a short part?
It was a normal prayer.
No, normal prayer. Okay.
Probably was a little longer.
You think so? Well, he had to earn his money.
Yeah, I went into, praying for his ministry and praying for the church. Yeah, it was a lot longer. My part wasn't that long, because what else you gonna say at the end of a wedding?
I know, and he had to get home. This is Friday night. He had to get home to study his speech. It was 2 sentences.
No, I said I had to get home and study my sermon. Big difference.
But this is on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
two sentences.
Friday
And they were
is
short sentences.
Friday is note day. Like Saturday is moving day at the Masters. Friday is note day on my sermons.
Well, what
I'm writing my notes.
Why didn't you?
Then Saturday I'm reviewing.
Why didn't you let Renee drive you home from the beach?
Because she ain't gonna drive. I can tell you that.
Did you come home Thursday?
Came on Thursday.
Yeah. We set it up after Bible study. I think is yeah. I mean,
Yeah, Thursday.
after they left, started setting it up.
Yeah. Y'all were over here setting up or doing
I was
something.
waiting for him. I didn't know why I don't know why it took so long. I
Yeah.
mean, that last one he did was up to 12 o'clock or so. Were you? Did you leave when? Were they still going when you left Thursday?
Bible study?
Yeah.
I left for 2 out of the 3. That was actually one of the things I was going to talk about today. I stayed for the last one all the way to the end, and it lasted till about 11:45, I think.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
don't know
people
how
asking
long.
questions, or is it?
No,
just-
it's
I mean,
taking
that was a
survey.
little longer because they did a survey and they had.
a survey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to fill it out.
But
Well, oftentimes, yeah. I was gonna say,
I left the two weeks before. The first one that they did, I had a meeting I had to get back for. The second one, though, was, I thought, an interesting podcast topic maybe. So I think that, and I'm not bringing it up to sound defensive or self-righteous. I'm not claiming
Okay.
that I was right or wrong on this, but I thought it was a good debate we could have anyway.
Okay, let's have it.
So
Throw it on me.
on the way to Bible study, second week of the 3, I had a tea time that afternoon for like 1:20.
okay.
Another guy.
And you were playing with oh shoot, what's his name? Boy from Avisboro.
Yes.
Yeah, I met him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was the day I had to come in and work the sound.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that wasn't that was like the week before
No.
that started.
Yeah. So the week that I'm talking about would have been 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
I brought him.
Okay.
He came with me to Bible study, and then 2 weeks later we played again.
Okay.
So there's another guy that I play a lot with, who's a guy who I've talked about him or talked to him a lot about church, stuff like that. He's kind of not really involved in church right now and doesn't really, kind of figuring things out a little bit as far as what he believes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're on the way. I'm on the way to Bible study that morning, and I get a text from him that says, "Can you play at 12 o'clock?" Whatever it
Ooh,
was.
yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I was already playing at 1:20. Let me check and see if I can rearrange it." And I checked with the other guy from Avisboro and said, "Hey, can you play at 12 instead?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, "Okay, yeah, we'll do that." And then I'm on here. I'm like, I'm gonna have to leave Bible study early. Kind of feel guilty for that in a way, but then I'm like, wait a minute. good opportunity to get people
That's
together.
right.
And, I'm not saying that I'm just doing this to, to evangelize my buddy or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like, to sit in a Bible study, learning about how to share Jesus instead of going out
When you're putting it into practice.
and putting it into
And
practice.
I think the thing of it is, and that's sometimes, and I nothing against, look, I'm all for evangelism training. I've taught evangelism training for 20 years. I
Yeah.
mean, I've done it off and on, and so I'm not against it. But part of me is, I've always made the argument, listen, if you know enough to get saved, you know enough to share it with someone how to
Yeah.
be saved.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's just a matter of just opening your mouth. And,
Yeah.
I have found here lately, it's been absolutely amazing the number of people that are coming to this church now, and they are zero church background, maybe nominal Catholic background, are coming here because people are inviting them. People are just taking the time to make friends and just, hey, and share Christ with them, or either eventually get around to inviting them to church. I mean, it's just, look, I'm not against it, but I think it's one of, most people are adequately equipped. They just don't do it. And a class like that sometimes helps you to realize I can do this.
Yeah. Well, and to some extent, I mean, I've said this before, I think a little bit. I mean, I try to just live my life the way I need to live my life. And if you do that, eventually it comes up whether you meant for it to or not. I mean, it's something that, Sunday was interesting. So I had signed up to play in the Sully's Masters Pro-Am
Oh
at
my!
8 o'clock.
Can you actually play Augusta?
On Sully's, you can. Yeah. That's one of the courses.
I can't believe they let you do it.
So I signed up for the 8 o'clock block. I thought I'll go ahead and get in, get out, and then go to church. And that way I can get out and play in the
Right, in the
afternoon
afternoon, real
and then
quick.
get back in time to see the end of the Masters. So I was gonna have a full golf day.
Golly,
And yeah,
what a day.
well, the tournament lasted forever and it was supposed to be done by 10. And I thought that was running long. It was only 9 holes.
Right.
And it's like 10:30 and we're still on like 17.
Well, I was gonna say, I didn't see you.
Yeah. No, I was here.
Oh,
I got
did you?
no,
Yeah,
I don't
I
think I
talked
saw
to you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I
I
had
don't
children's
remember
church. Yeah, I saw.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought I remember seeing you.
Yeah, I didn't catch you during the
Sure.
greeting though.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I did get here, but I had to
Okay.
leave early. And so at the end, I'm having to tell people like, "Hey, is there anything can I like go ahead and play my last hole and get
Right.
on out of here? I gotta go." Like, where you gotta go? I said, "I gotta get to church. I'm teaching children's church this morning."
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like I'm not trying to go out of my way or anything about it, but the alternative is to what? Just lie and say I got somewhere to be,
Yeah.
and not. I mean, your
it's fair
faith's
to
gonna
say,
come
look,
up
man.
as you're just
Yeah.
living your life if it's a big enough part.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of, I think Jesus put it this way, and not, he didn't use these uncertain terms, but words, but I believe it is a fair way to say it is, what's on the inside is going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless of what. So if Jesus is on the inside and you love him with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, it's going to come out eventually. You don't have to force it.
Right.
And it's not, now I know there are times when I run into someone that, okay, how do I share a word here? Or maybe there's a question I can use. I get that. At the same time, most of the time though, with most people, if you love Christ enough, you're gonna hear it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree because what you're saying, because that's happened to me. It's just the way you live your life and and just at the grocery store,
Yep.
have a blessed day, or just the way you talk, the way you present yourself, it just comes out.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's questions they may ask you. I mean, the way it comes out of, you know,
Why are you so
whether,
happy?
case in point, I think I've shared this. I was going to work one day down in Fayetteville, and man had a flat tire. Well, and he was an older man, and I said, "Yeah, he don't have no business changing that tire." I pulled over beside him and changed everything for him, got it up there, did it in about half the time I know it took him,
Yeah.
because he was old, a little bit older and feeble, and came time to get done, he said, "Man, I just want to say thank you." And I said, "Well, sir, you're certainly welcome." And he said, "Man, there sure are." He said, "I'm glad to see there's some nice people in the world, and that's or good people in the world." And that's when I said, Gosh, that's too good to pass up. I told him, I said, "Sir, I just want you to know the Bible says there is none good, no, not one." I said, but Christ saved me." And I said, "That's one of the reasons I stopped today is just because Christ changed my life, and I feel like it's something I should do to help you." And I mean, it opened up an opportunity for him that he already knew the Lord because he jumped in on that. But had he not,
Mm,
that's a perfect opportunity.
yeah,
And again, it's him saying, "I'm just glad there's some good people
yeah,
in the world."
yeah,
Well, that's be listening.
yeah.
That's I think oftentimes those evangelism training needs to be listen.
Well, I
Listen
think
to what people are saying.
I can't remember if we talked about this a couple weeks ago or not, but when we first started doing this podcast, I think my thinking as a Christian was that your number one responsibility was helping other people to find Jesus, and that's part of it.
Yeah, well,
But
evangelism
it
is a
is,
big part of it.
but one that I think is equally important is discipleship and growing in Christ together, and I say equally important. I don't know how to if you're supposed to rank them or if you can rank them or whatever. But honestly, if you're growing each other's faith not, I don't even necessarily mean it as like teaching other people. We all learn from each other, right? It's
Right.
not like a ranking system of who's discipling who necessarily, but it's just having conversations with other believers.
Sure.
And when you have that conversation with the guy changing his tire, him already knowing the Lord, that doesn't mean it wasn't a successful conversation,
Exactly.
right? You still have an
Exactly.
opportunity to grow in your faith and his faith from that fellowship also.
Well, I think somewhere along the way over the last 20 years of me being in the ministry, I think the Lord really changed my view on a lot of things in regard to what you just said. And what I mean by that is 20 years ago, oh, it's all about winning someone to Christ. You got to
Mhm.
have evangelism.
Yeah.
Well, no. And through years of study and years of watching how God works, I go back to Matthew 28:19 and 20. He doesn't say, go and win people to Christ. He
Mhm.
says, go and make disciples.
Yeah.
Discipleship is not just evangelism.
Yeah.
Discipleship is yes, one, an initial coming to Christ, but that ain't where faith ends. Then faith takes over. Then it becomes I grow in Christ, and that's part of everybody pours into you, and you pour into others, like you said. And so for me, someone asked me recently, "Well, yeah, y'all are growing as a church. What are y'all doing for evangelism?" And I looked at him. I said, "Look, I don't mean to be ugly." I said, "But I have found the best way for us is our folks are out and about, and as they go, they're sharing their life. They're inviting people to Christ. They're doing this." I said, "I've found we don't need necessarily hooks like, oh, we're having this event." Now those can work, and I'm not against them. But I have found the biggest thing that's helping us is it's word of mouth. It's people saying, "Hey, there's something going on over here. There's something going on in my life. This helped me. Christ did this in my life." And if we'll do that, that oftentimes is the best evangelism, and again, it's about being there and pouring your life into and discipleship.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not, there's some folks out there, oh, you got to be an evangelist. I'm not saying that. I'm all for evangelism.
Yeah.
I just know that I can get people saved. Somebody asked me the other day, and this is the truth. Somebody asked me the other day, "Are you ever upset that there's not just an outpouring of people coming down the
Mhm.
aisle?" Because their response was, "We thought there should be, and man, why aren't people responding like that? Because it's sure the message, you know." And I said, "I'm not preaching for that.
Yeah.
My goal is not to get people to respond at 11:45.
Yeah.
I could care less about that. I want you living at 11:45 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the Lord.
Yeah.
Because if you're growing and serving the Lord out there, that'll take care of the revival. That'll take care of people's hearts being awakened to the Lord. And so, man, I'm all the time about let's be about discipleship and helping people to grow in their relationship, not just uh, the big numbers and the pow whiz bang.
Also, that's the purpose of the title of the show, by the way, The Other 167, and welcome to The Other 167. I
Oh,
forgot to say
hey,
that.
there you
But a
go.
great segue into that because that is exactly what the show is. That's where the name came from. It's not about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Sunday. It's the
Mhm.
other 167 hours of the week. Can you live that way? And I think that you always say when you baptize somebody, this isn't or you don't always say it, I don't think, this isn't the starting line, or the
Yeah,
finish
this
line, it's
ain't
the
the finish
starting line.
line. This is go.
I think Christians sometimes, though, look at it as the finish line. Somebody
Right.
gets saved, somebody gets
Oh,
baptized, and we say, "All right, they're in." And then we don't pay
or
any
the
more
gr
attention or put any more energy into that person because they're already saved. We go try to find another one.
Mhm.
Well, I think that might be part of the reason that you got a lot of really weak Christians
It
sometimes
is.
that don't
And there's
walk the
nothing
walk.
wrong with that of, "Hey, I'm so excited he came to Christ.
Yes.
Let me now who's next I'm working on?"
Right.
But, yeah, there's still the process of they've gotta grow,
Yeah.
and you're exactly right. If you don't do that, you're shortchanging the process
Yeah.
because it is more than just getting people saved.
Yeah.
It's saved and getting them to the finish line.
Mhm.
and it's also I like what you said, you're not looking for a lot of people because we can't handle it. We can't handle 50 people coming in here with discipleship and everything. 50 people coming up and getting saved.
Oh, I
2
think
or
I could
3.
handle it.
I mean, the discipleship, I don't think we're set up to handle to be able to disciple that many people at one time.
Well, if that happened, I think the Lord would figure that one out.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
hey,
I mean, it's
3,000 got saved in one time,
Yeah.
but
yeah, but it was chaos too.
it was chaos, and that's gonna be the thing. I mean, when you have that kind of thing, you do have chaos, and as you have the same thing like we have, you're gonna have chaos there too, because you don't know where to put everybody in.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
what I'm so we're not equipped at
524
this
and
point in
don't
time,
know where am I gonna put
but
20 more people.
we should prepare ourselves for that.
Exactly, exactly. But no, I think there is a major difference between just winning people to Christ, and there are people, whether they're pastors or whatnot, that they look at people as a notch on the gun belt, where I don't know that I wanna
The numbers,
I don't wanna just how many people got saved, how many people got baptized. That's important,
It's their
but
scoreboard.
are we growing them?
Yeah.
And the way to measure that is, are they in turn making disciples?
Mhm.
Because that's really what you wanna be, is you wanna be a disciple-making church, and it's disciples making disciples, who are making disciples, who are making disciples, so that it continues on generation after generation.
Well, and growing in your own in Christ's likeness also, so that we are a better reflection of Him and His love. I think
Sure.
that's which I was thinking about something. This was actually another podcast topic, I guess, but I was thinking about the stereotype you get. A lot of people, and I know I heard Kenny say it before. People are always calling Christians hypocrites, and we can be hypocritical sometimes. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, that's fair. There's a lot of Christians that can be hypocritical. Another thing, though, is that I think the outside world doesn't necessarily have an accurate depiction of what Christianity is. So then they think we're being hypocritical because they're presuming what we believe when we may not, when they may be wrong. I'm trying. I had an example of me doing this. I don't can't remember it right now, and if I did, I don't know if I'd want to share it. But me I don't think I'm perfect,
Right,
by any means. I don't ever try to
right.
claim that
That's good.
I do sin less than I did a long time ago,
That's
but
right.
I certainly
But
still
I
have a
still
whole
got a
bunch
long
of them.
way to go,
Right,
and I have nothing to brag about.
right. So it was probably on a golf course. I probably said a word that you're not supposed to say or
Right.
something, and I'm thinking, well, somebody might I put a
I
cross
didn't
on
think
my
Christians did that.
that's right. I put a cross on my golf ball as
Yeah,
my mark,
sure.
okay? So then when I lose sight of that cross and the word slips out that
Right,
shouldn't have,
and golf can do it.
yeah, somebody's gonna sit there and say, "Oh, well, look at this
Yeah,
hypocritical
what's
Christian."
that? I
Well, no,
thought
no,
you
no. Me being a Christian, I never claimed that I didn't sin, okay? That wasn't the point of me putting the cross on the golf ball. It was actually to try to prevent
yeah,
it,
that's right.
So it's sometimes I think we might get an unfair bad rap in some ways, and
I think so,
it
I
goes both.
think so, and I think sometimes we've earned it,
Yeah.
and I think the thing of it is, holding someone to a standard of perfection, yeah, I'm gonna find a hypocrite every time I turn
Mhm,
around. But now look, if we act unlovingly, if we act un-Christ-like,
mhm.
then yeah, I think that's when we can definitely be accused of basically being a hypocrite.
and I think we also, because I've seen this recently, we also, even Christians say their brothers are hypocrites.
Mm,
Yeah, because we gossip about our brothers.
sure.
And had one that was very angry with someone. They both profess Christianity. Instead of badgering that person, what are you doing? Didn't God tell you forgive that person?
Mhm.
And sometimes we criticize people when we should be the ones that are or we're criticizing for what they're doing, but Christ told us what we should be doing.
Mhm.
We should not be holding that against them. And I think a lot of times we forget we can see what someone else is doing in the church, but what are we doing about it? We're talking about 'em? That's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Supposed to be forgiving and loving them, regardless of what they do. But that's easier said than done. Um,
Well, I think it goes back to what we've said before, remembering your own sins,
oh
past and
yeah, yeah.
present.
I
I mean,
mean,
that,
if we did that, then yeah,
and also remembering to not rank those sins, right? I mean,
exactly.
when I see somebody doing something, whether it's in church or out in the world, that I don't agree with or I know is unbiblical or whatever, it's easy to be, not meaning to start to judge a little bit or start to feel a certain way about it, and then I just always got to kind of constantly remind myself, you remember the golf course the other day, remember the other day in traffic, remember whatever. I mean, it's and that's we're all. I sure am glad I'm not judged on my worst days,
No,
and from it,
That's for sure.
because there's some we all have them, and
we're all broken
our worst
people.
moments. Yeah,
We're every one of us, and we had no reason to criticize somebody else because we're broken ourselves.
I'm glad I'm not judged on my best days, much less my
Man,
worst.
yeah, right. I mean, we're all are sinners, or once we're sinners. I mean, we're all children in Christ, of course, but we're all broken. We all have that tendency to go back to where God brought us from, and
Hmm.
we need to get our eyes off our brother. We need to focus on ourselves. What I need to. This is
Mhm.
me. I need to focus on what I'm doing
Right.
wrong or right, not worry about what they're doing
But yeah, let's
because
just focus on Christ.
you're
Yeah,
not going to tell somebody they're wrong and they'll believe you. You know, well, I'm not getting into the corporate where the scriptures that you know, take your brother aside and all that.
Right.
I'm not talking about that.
Well, no, I'm just talking about getting your mind fixed on Christ.
Yeah,
And that's what I was making the comment.
and not
But you're right.
to when I find that I focus on Christ, it doesn't matter what people are doing to me.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not that I agree with it, but it doesn't upset me
yeah,
because I know I could be there, or I have been there, or in that. And sometimes people do things that I think are wrong, but they don't, and I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's my conviction. That's how I was brought up, and it might not even be wrong. Some things might not even be wrong that I think are wrong.
yeah,
And it's and the question comes to mind, that's not the criteria of being saved. Criteria of being saved is repent, believe, and receive.
mhm,
And we get that confused. We associate bad Christian behavior as, "Oh, are they really saved?" And
yeah.
that's not true. And I'm the guilty person on that one.
Well, and I had one the other day, another golf story, but I got paired up with somebody. I didn't know them, but we were, had 2 twos they put us together.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
well,
Sometimes
sometimes it can be great. I mean,
big fun.
I've made some real good friends that way, and then at the same time, this one wasn't one of those. Um, Me and the guy that I was playing with, he made the comment to me about the 6th or 7th hole. "Does this guy have a cuss word quota that he's trying to
Yeah,
hit?"
he's trying
I
to hit
said,
his
"Well,
limit.
Oh, man.
let me tell you, if he does,
He's trying
he's
to hit
gonna
it.
hit it because I'm not lying. Yeah, he probably said 4 or 5 after
Good
every shot,
gracious.
Yeah, yeah.
and he probably shot 125. So
Oh,
I said, "That's 500," but he wasn't
yeah.
just his. Every time I hit, he had something to say, and I mean, I bet the guy
Oh,
said,
wow.
I really don't think I'm exaggerating to say I think he said 1,500 that day. No joke. I mean, if you did the math, it was
Well,
Yeah, I would have had
I've
no,
got a neighbor like that, that has a limited vocabulary.
well, and
It drives me crazy. I don't confront her, but it's like, "Don't you know another word?"
well,
no,
Yeah,
it becomes part of you.
yeah,
It
it's
becomes
just great.
part of
It
your
drives me
nature
nuts.
when it is, again, again, for our fans listening up north, I apologize. This is not anything towards you.
Yeah.
But it is stereotypical. When we went to New York, and we went on a mission trip to Staten Island, and we worked with churches that were up there. Man, between the pastor and all the other folks that were
It's so
there,
different.
man, I was hearing cuss words, and I was with a bunch of youth up there. I was like, y'all need
Yeah,
to drop the cuss
Well,
words." And for them, I even asked the pastor, I said, "What's the deal?" He said, "It ain't a cuss word for us. We just throw
exactly.
it in.
yeah.
That's
It's
exactly
more of an adjective." And I'm like, "No, where I'm from, that's an adjective that's not." I said, "Yeah, get your taste slapped out your mouth if you
well,
Yeah.
say
I
that
can
around where I'm
handle
at."
I don't say it's cussing, because it's a hard issue. But
Right.
when you start using the Lord's name in vain,
That's where
it's
that's where
that's
you
it.
draw the line.
Well, see, and that's where I think that
You can say the F bomb, whatever,
yeah.
at church if you want to. It's not gonna affect me
Oh, it'll
because
affect me.
well, yeah, but
It'll affect some folks.
it made me look at you
Yeah.
a little strange, but, I'm the thing about using those type of words, you pass it on to your children, and I see this lady, son, he's worse than she is. Yeah, so it's, not that it's right or wrong because it's not what comes
Uh,
is it's your mindset.
Well, and
But I'll do it. I was taught not to, I get
yeah.
slapped if I did that,
Well, and here's
I
the
would
thing,
cut
speaking of being a hypocrite,
Hey,
if you if I self-audited a little bit, look, the words you were just talking about there, what I'd call my PG-13 words, I say a lot more of them than a Christian should, okay, and I'll
well,
acknowledge that.
I think it's culture.
But
well, I think it's playing golf too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it'll do it.
That a
But
four-letter word.
I but I also, on the flip side of it, I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, and I never say God's name in vain, but it's one of my sticklers, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm pretty strict on that one, and if I do, it's an accident. It's not anything I've
Right.
ever and I'm telling you, this guy said God's name way
Oh,
more than
now
you have
now
in a
that's
sermon,
come on, dude.
that
and
is,
I almost made a joke. I told my buddy one time, I said, "If he says it
that's a
one more
command
time,"
there.
I said, I'm getting to the point. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers or anything, but if he says that one more time, I'm gonna tell him Jesus ain't got nothing to do with his
Yeah,
golf game.
yes,
He
yeah.
needs to get that name out of your mouth because it was like, oh, man, it was
I mean, why would you
offensive or whatever, but it's just one of those. I hate to hear it, and it just gets on my nerves. And after hearing it for 4 hours,
I do not like to hear people use Jesus
No.
or God, and my thinking is, 'cause other than it's wrong, and I know it's wrong, um, why would you curse somebody that has died for you?
That's right.
And I don't get it, but I know they don't get it either.
I even wonder sometimes, like, why Jesus? Why if you don't say
Don't
Allah
believe
or
in
any of
it.
these, if you don't believe in him, why are you saying his name so much? I mean, what's the? I just don't. I don't get it. But I don't know.
Maybe that's what we need to start doing is the Allah and come up with some stuff. I wouldn't
You
recommend it.
get shot
I was gonna say,
if
I
you
ain't gonna
use it.
recommend that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm with you. If you're not a follower of his, why you even invoking his name?
yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2 is, there's just a part of me that says, "Look, I know when you play sports, when you play any kind of competitive something, you take it serious. But John
That's
Brown, this is a game. I
Yeah.
don't know that I need to cuss. I learned that a long time ago because I used to get all upset. I used to, I've got a mark on my leg where I threw a club that I shouldn't have when I dubbed a pitch shot or a chip.
really
I stink at golf so bad. Now I was 18, but I stink at golf so bad that I'm like, what? I mean, yeah, if I want to get well and get better and start playing more, I get it. But doggone, it's a game. I don't know if I need to cuss at it
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Now, if I just blew a Masters putt for $2 million, all right, I don't know what I would say. I would probably just break down and cry. But I mean, I just don't know that it's worth. I mean,
Well
is anything? I mean, I know there's some things, but
well,
playing a game,
where's the sin? It's
we ain't talking about the
when you
game.
I know, but when you start cussing, that's the physical effect. The sin has already is in
It's
your
the heart.
right, that's where you're sinning.
Well, and that's where the mouth speaks anyway.
Yeah, and
Well,
then the other thing is just you've already done it. You've already thinking about murder, you've already murdered somebody instead of the physical act, well, that comes later.
yeah.
But
Well,
so attitudes.
that's when I was joking with Renee the other day, in the Bible study. They said something about the fruits of the Spirit, and they listed them off, and, it was a fruit of the Spirit, was the whole point of the study, that there's only one. But, anyway, when he got to self-control, I looked at Renee, I said, "I always forget that last one."
Yeah,
That's a
that's a
tough
tough one.
but I tell you, the golf course is a real good way to practice it because I think that it's
Better
something
You're
that
getting
believe
a
it.
lot of experience.
I've been really
You better believe it.
I've had a lot of rounds recently where I played 14 or 15 holes very well, and the other 4
And it only takes
completely
2.
yeah,
It only takes 1 to
and
really derail you.
I tell you, you talk about having to and I've, again, not done it perfectly on a couple of occasions, but I've had to really work hard on that self-control thing of, "Hey, look, this is still a game, and you're still out here playing, and that's a blessing, and it's again, don't"
Yeah,
and trying to tone that part of it down a little bit, and I was telling Gabe yesterday, he had a little incident at school, and he was about as red as your shirt, and he had a right to be, and he did some stuff he probably shouldn't have done in reaction to it, and I said, "Look, I get it, but you just gotta take a breath, because you're gonna make it worse by the
yep,
way you react."
yep.
And I said, "The other day, I was so mad I could have snapped my driver over my cart, but then I had to remember that shaft was $300,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't wanna
right.
have to spend the money to
Start
fix
talking
it."
about how much money you
Yeah.
spent,
So
breaking it.
it's just one of those things you gotta kinda, um, check yourself on a little bit, and also the self-control in a situation like the other day with that guy. I don't know how we're supposed to handle that. I never said anything to him about it. I know that there's people that would, but I'm sitting there thinking that I'm not sure how to address it. I'm not sure how to bring it up. I just tried to respond by being as kind as no matter at the end of the day, now on the inside, I was frustrated and fed up, but I was trying to be as nice to him at the end of the day as I was at the beginning and just try to be steady in that. And that took self-control too, because
My recommendation would be a couple things. Number 1 is this, don't be alarmed, the world acts like the world.
yeah,
Alright, so that's number 1. Don't ever be shocked that the world acts like the world.
Mhm.
yeah,
Alright, so don't impose, "Well, he should be acting like a Christian." He's just as dark and lost as he can be.
yeah,
He's just as dark and lost as my shot off the tee box.
right.
Alright, so don't 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 expect him to live a godly life when he doesn't even have God in his life.
Right.
All right, so now what's the answer to darkness is, all right, well, let's shine the light. Let's
Mhm.
share the light. And I think that's where you begin to look for ways to do it. I think there's ways to kindly basically say without, again, I'm doing this with gentleness and respect.
Mhm.
And it's okay to say, hey, man, look, I just want you to know, the name you just used, he's the one that saved my life, and,
Yeah.
look, cuss any way you want, just don't use that word,
Yeah.
or, hey, how about I give you a good one? Dad Jim, that's what I used to say. Use that one.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever, met Dad or Jim that would,
Yeah.
you can say Dad Jim all you want.
Yeah.
And, I think you can do it in a loving, kind way without trying to invoke a fight or
Yeah.
anything else, and maybe after about the 2nd, 3rd hole, you build a rapport up with them of some way, but it may just be that, "You know what, man? And look, I've done this before, is we're gonna peel away from you, or you go ahead,
Yeah.
we're slowing you down."
Yeah.
Or, "My golf game's so bad I can do this, I can start slowing somebody down and
Yeah.
just say, 'You know what? You go ahead.'"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to just, continue to be as level-headed and treat not trying not to get judgmental was the big
Right.
I had to put
Well, I
most of
think
my energy into not getting judgmental.
that's where because oftentimes that's where we get mad,
Yeah.
is we start judging and everything else, and I think that's why I want to remind you,
Yeah.
the world's acting like the
Yeah.
world. Don't
Yeah.
don't be shocked.
Yeah.
When someone is spiritually darkened, if we believe what this says, if you're not in Christ, then you are in spiritual darkness.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised they don't live like the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the world, like I said, the world lives by their morality, which is no morality.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that the God of this age has darkened their mind. I mean, you look at what Ephesians 2 says, and you begin to realize, yeah, they're going to live totally opposite, which then in part kind of puts the onus on us, or the question that we have is, if that's the case, if we live in a dark world, and don't be surprised when the world lives like the
Yeah,
world,
the
then we should stick out. Like strangers and aliens is what the writer of Hebrews, Peter, calls us strangers and aliens, that we have seen that there's a distant land, and that we cherish it, and we long for it, we desire it.
and, yeah, that too, and I'm not afraid of what's happening in this world now because
We shouldn't be.
we already got the end, and
Yeah,
it don't bother me what people do, sinners do, because that's just them. I mean, yeah, I get irritated,
sure.
but I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked about anything
Well,
that I
hey,
eat.
watch the news and it'll let you know.
That don't even shock
And
me
no, you
anymore.
don't need to be shocked, but it
It's
just
just like,
how devastating, how dark it is.
and so and we can be that way. I mean, we can get off track ourselves, but
Sure,
it's.
man.
It used to bother me. I used to bother my father all the time, "Man, that's what was going on." Hell.
Heck, and I am about you.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, they are.
Well,
You're
it
exactly
is.
right. But that's not how he was putting it.
What happened to this country?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't anybody have any morals?
Yeah,
You know,
or
and that's just and that's been going on since day one. Has it got any worse? I don't know if it's gotten worse, if Bible tends to say things do get worse. But, sin is sin, and it had
I think
we
it's
just
volume.
see it a lot more
I think it's
because of
just
the
volume.
yes, and we see it, but we see it now.
There's more people, and there's more things. So I just think it's volume. It ain't this. And there's nothing new under the sun. This is the same kind of mayhem and debauchery that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah,
So
and now all
it
throughout
was
history.
yeah.
There's
They
nothing.
just didn't have social media.
They didn't have social media, and we got so much
You're
more
right,
of it because we
and
got so many people.
yeah, so many people wanna be, want to be seen. Facebook definitely has
Boy, I tell you what, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing what people are doing. TikTok, everything else that I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest with you, boys. I've just never thought that my opinion was that important that I had to post something
Mhm.
about what I enjoyed eating, what I ate, what I think, the products I use. Man, I'm telling you, I saw something the other day that somebody told me that they made. I want to say it was like 50 grand a year with these TikTok videos. I said, man, it is a sorry world. It's a sorry world. That's just me.
what are they, influencers? Is that what they
I
call
don't
it?
know what they do. I mean, it was just
I mean, is
about
You
that
gotta be a
is that what
makeup.
following.
it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, you build up a following and then people and I'm sitting there like, "Man, I'm sorry. That's
And
just,
but you're doing it all the time. It's not like it's not a job. I mean, you
yeah.
have to do it to build up a following, don't you?
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know
well,
that I
now
call it a job."
now I think you can pretty much tell AI to make videos, and it makes them as fast as you want to, and then you put them out, and you don't even really have to.
Okay, I didn't even know that part. That makes it even worse.
Yeah. I mean, you can.
It gets worse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is a sorry
I mean,
world.
and here's what I heard I saw last night because I was watching. I do watch the news,
Mm,
but I watch it for not to believe it,
for lotto tickets.
but to be informed on what's going on,
Right.
but not to believe what they're saying about it. I
Yeah.
just know that we're at war with Iran,
What
I
are you
don't
talking
listen
about?
to the spin they're in for one thing, and that's filling their pockets with money.
Well, that's it. They're
I
trying to
knew
build an audience and
they
then
know
get
who their
and they
audience
know
is,
what the audience wants.
and you know how to get your audience riled up.
But even that, I mean, if you follow anything on Twitter with the Iran war, what's going on over there, you wouldn't know who's winning because I see videos all the time. Oh, the Iranians have sunk this ship, and they got video of it, and you're sitting there like, that don't look real.
Yeah.
And you don't hear anything on the regular news, so I'm kind of like, all right, I'm not believing anything. And I'll just be honest with you, it breaks my heart because I'm kind of like, boys, what are we doing? I hate to see any kind of war. At the same time, there is such thing as a just war. Is this one? I'm still on the fence on that. So it's just been. I'm ready for the thing to be over, and let's get back to regular.
I mean, what was it last night that post that Trump had to go, take off? Now, it didn't offend me. Some people say he was trying to be like Jesus. He
Well, he made himself. Yeah.
and then
If you look at that picture, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think
but
there's a little
he's
bit too
dressed
much
like
there.
the Pope, and so
I don't
some
know. He
people
was
said
dressed like the
he's
Pope.
the Pope.
I haven't
Some
seen
people
it.
said he was the Lord Jesus. He's a doctor. I mean, you hear 3 different things.
I'll
What
be honest. I think you said it
is it
a
that
while
we
back that you don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with just turning it off a little bit and being underinformed or
yeah.
whatever. But I've gotten to the point I really just I I don't watch it, and I'm
Yeah.
not even sorry I don't
I
watch it
know you
anymore.
know what band is. Are you looking at that post?
There's the picture.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah. So tell me that don't look something like I
Yeah.
I,
But
I was sitting there
it
like,
don't offend me. Renee was all outraged about it.
well, he made it sound like he was supposed to be a doctor. I, I don't know what
I
doctor.
don't.
Oh
He
man.
does do some things that I question a lot.
Well,
But
and I hate to say it, and I know, hey, if I got any Catholic friends out there, I'm sorry, but this little brouhaha he's got going with the Pope, I'm kind of, I hate to say, I'm highly entertained.
well, that's what I was told. That's why I thought he was dressed up because
Yeah, you thought he was trying to imitate the Pope because he's already said,
because they
I don't want a
they're
Pope
they're
that's going to be
they're
talking
they're
about this,
they're
this,
at
and this,
yeah. So
and
that's how I took it, that he was dressed as a Pope, and they thought it's Jesus.
What's his rub with the
He thinks
Pope?
he's a doctor.
well, the Pope has said what's going on in Iran is unacceptable,
Oh,
and
okay,
that
so it was
we are using violence, and it's basically human suffering, and and Trump came on, and I wish he'd have said, "Well, I ain't Catholic, I don't care," but I think he is. So, but he just basically says, "I don't want any pope that's going to be telling me I'm wrong or if America's
Not what
wrong."
I elected to do.
Yeah, and so I was sitting there thinking, "Wow,
And
that ought to be interesting between the Pope and." But then again, the Pope had never done anything for me, so I'm just
well,
gonna move on.
the thing I do like about Trump, he'll do what he says he's gonna do and not
Well,
think about it.
I don't think he
He not
cares.
he don't care about
You don't
being
care.
reelected, that's for sure.
So,
Yeah.
and he's even I thought I'm like you, I thought he would post himself as a picture of him being the Pope,
Yeah.
and I think he did do something like that,
That's what I
and,
thought. That's how I took it because that's what was going on. But it did
I
but when I looked at it, man, it's really
oh, no.
without getting into political
it was
opinion,
just funny.
I'm
Oh,
just gonna say, like, yeah,
I'm just gonna nod
Trump
my
Trump
head.
d some of the stuff Trump does, I can't take it.
Yeah,
I can't I
no,
have to just turn it off, you know what I mean?
that's it,
Like, I'm
that's
not
it, I
I
agree.
just
I could I can listen to
It's
him
a little
better than
too
I can
much.
on a lot of that liberal stuff. That's just not
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
But both of them are just too far to the right and left to do any good.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day, that, he's posted a bunch of stuff about, anti-Trump stuff on Facebook, and I talked to him the other day, and I said, "Boy, you really don't like Trump, do you?" And he said, "No." He said, "I take it you do about that question?" I said, "I didn't say anything about liking Trump. I
no.
just acknowledged
See,
that you
that's the
really
problem.
don't."
That's part
Yeah.
of the problem in
Yeah.
this country.
It's one
Is
or the
you either
other.
gotta be on his side
Yeah,
or you are against him, and I'm like, "No, I'm in the middle." I think if I'm in the middle, I can call a spade
that's
and
right.
say, "That was dumb.
That's
That
right.
was smart.
Yeah.
That was good. This was terrible."
And so
And why do I
But
have
we
to
don't
either
have
be
that.
in his camp or not? And that's where the media does that
So,
so
yeah,
that I
they're
can have
selling
my
fear.
audience.
yeah.
Yeah, they're selling fear.
And I think my response to it is, "Okay, I've been trying to be in the middle, and y'all won't let me be in the middle,
That's it.
so I'm just gonna be dumb." And when you say, "What did you think about what Trump did?" I can honestly say, "I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I didn't see it."
just yeah.
I don't, because
What'd he do
and
now?
then if you wanna yeah, if you wanna hate me for not following, fine,
Yeah.
but I'm not getting in the middle
What'd
of
he
it.
do now? I
Yeah.
don't know.
What do you do
Okay.
now? But
Alright.
well, how many we on here?
We
So we
got
got
241.
I don't know. What are we talking
we
about?
hadn't
We had a
recorded but
business
like
meeting
40
for 40
yeah, we
yeah,
didn't record but
we had a
43
business
minutes
meeting
of
for
it.
40 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, and longer just as long as any Baptist business meeting we
well,
usually have.
Garrett closed us out, so
Yeah.
it should be
I
good
was
with his prayer.
I was glad to hear that you're gonna be 3 weeks on John 14,
Yes.
because I was kinda bummed when I looked at it and realized that's what you were preaching Sundays. I was like, "Man, I got children's church, and I'd rather be in there for it."
Yeah.
But, I did listen to it, but I was, multitasking when I listened, so I didn't have my notes out, but, uh, I was glad it was gonna be, because that's probably John 14 and 15 might be my favorite chapters of the Bible, or favorite.
Well, they are the upper room discourse is a powerful, powerful. I mean, if you stop and think about it, if you know this is the last thing I'm going to teach my son, if I know I'm going home to be with the Lord, and this is the last thing I'm going to teach my son, it'd probably be a pretty
Mhm.
good life lesson.
Yeah.
Well, these are the last words he's going to share with his disciples before he goes to the cross, and so I don't know that probably is some heavy stuff, and he knew their hearts were heavy. And for him to start off the whole thing, 14:1 with, "Do not let your hearts be troubled."
Mhm.
Man, that's pretty heavy considering everything that we just heard, the bomb that we just received, and "Don't let your hearts be troubled."
Yeah.
That sounds like a command. That sounds like something I have control over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really want them to see, and, as we go through John chapter 14, you're gonna see that.
And I like that verse because we can be our hearts can I think what Jesus is saying is, "Let untroubled heart in a troubled life." And that's we have troubles in life.
You're gonna have trouble.
So, I think that's,
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about what's happening, uh, in our heart, because that's really where fear comes from,
sure.
you know,
You don't have to walk in anxiety.
and in a troubled life when nothing's going right.
You don't have to walk in anxiety,
But
period.
we get but, I have to point to myself. I get sidetracked, and when I'm having trouble in my life, sometimes I do worry.
Right, but you don't have to.
I know.
That's what Jesus is
I
telling
know.
you in
I
John
know.
14:1.
I know what he's saying, but it's hard to put it into application a
Right,
lot of times.
sure.
I mean, I haven't mastered that. I don't know if will ever master that. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm like Paul in
Yeah.
this sense. I'm not doing it.
You know, when I listened to the sermon the other day or from Sunday, the invitation was, "What a friend we have in Jesus."
Remember
And I was like, "Man, that sounded really good." So I went back and listened to the invitation 2 or 3 times. They did a real good job singing it. And then afterwards, I ended up getting on Spotify and finding, like, an Alan Jackson version of it or something and added to my
that's a great
I'd
little song.
never I've sang it, I don't know how many times, but I never really paid attention to the words. And when I started
They're
listening to the
great.
words to it, I was like, it's, can't remember what
"Oh, what peace we often forfeit."
that. Yeah, it's because I never thought of it that way. But
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, why are we wasting we're choosing to take on these problems that we don't have to, and it's like you said, when you're concentrating on Jesus,
Yeah.
you don't have
Right.
problems.
Right. Right.
So then we choose to concentrate on our problems instead of Jesus. That's it's an active decision that we make to be miserable. And,
it's true.
it's I've tried to learn more and more and more just to say it's not my problem. It may be in my life and it may be happening to me, but it's not my problem.
Well,
It's
that's the problem.
yeah, yes, that was well put.
That's the
That
problem.
is the
It's
Well,
problem.
and I think the thing of it is, and I think that's what really, this past week really got to me was, the opposite of a troubled heart is not peace, and the opposite of a troubled heart is not calm. The opposite of a troubled heart is trust.
Mhm.
You can either trust or you can have a troubled heart.
Yeah.
And now when you trust, there is peace and there is calm, but it starts with who are you gonna have faith in? And
Mhm.
Jesus says, "You believe in God, believe also in me."
Mhm.
And I believe that he is who he is and he can do what he says he can do.
I like have that calm assurance that you can trust in God.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the trust comes first though.
I think, yeah, is it like 1, 2, or is it just
No, I'm just saying trust
yeah.
comes first. I mean,
Well, yeah, well,
according to John
that's the calm
14:1.
assurance is that you can trust in God.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens, you can always trust.
But you still
This
gotta
will pass.
you gotta step up and trust.
Yeah, and you gotta remember, this is going to pass
Mhm.
according to what he says. That trouble will pass.
And these momentary light
Yes, but
afflictions
we don't
will
feel like
pale in comparison
but we don't
to the
I can't
glory
tell you
that
how
will
many
be
times
revealed.
things have worked out, but it's that next one that I have a problem with.
Well, and again,
You know what?
what do we always have our mindset on is on the hard channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You
borrow
know what I'm
we're
talking
gonna
about.
borrow we're gonna borrow the trouble, and we're gonna worry, and it's gonna be worse than anything that could ever happen.
Yes, yeah.
Well, 90% of the things we worry about never happen.
No, right, that's true. But we,
So therefore, worry works.
yeah, you must
That's
you
a good way of putting
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
hey.
It's funny, I had already jotted this down as something to maybe talk about sometime, and then you kinda said it Sunday in part of your sermon, but there's not a, like, big divine sign type thing, but just if I feel like there's a theme that I've been getting from God the last few months, it's been this question of, okay, you've read the Bible, that's great, good
Yeah,
for you. Took you 40 years, but you finally read it, and you've even
you must have read it in
I read
Greek.
slow. I read it slow. Uh,
Well, he just took a little 20-year
yeah, there you go.
40 years. Whoa. You
And
word a day?
yeah, I was on the 20-year plan,
Yeah,
but there's okay, you've read it and you've taught it in children's church and
yeah,
Sunday school and stuff like that.
and you know what?
Now, do you believe it?
Yeah,
And
that's
it's like it, and
yeah.
I don't mean that in a questioning my own salvation type of way, but there is a big difference between knowing it and believing it,
Like,
and that when you talk about that stepping out on that bridge or whatever, and really knowing that it's going to hold you, and it's because it's a lot to I don't know, it's a lot to take in if you really think about the magnitude and the significance of what he's capable of, and it's why are you questioning things? You know he can handle it. Do you think he doesn't know? Do you think he doesn't? Do you, do you think he's not all knowing? Do you think he's not all loving, or do you think he's not all powerful?
That's right.
Which of these things are
That's
you
right.
questioning?
That's it.
we're
And
questioning it all, I think.
yeah, I don't know what we're questioning, but you shouldn't. I mean, I think that's when I just remind myself of that.
Yeah, I am.
You,
You're right. I think that's the key, that faith equals what you believe plus action,
mhm,
not just what you believe.
yeah,
Because most people think, oh, okay. And we kind of do it that way. Oh, he's a man of the faith.
hmm
Or he has, we consider faith to be a set of doctrines that we believe. Okay, I sort of get that the Christian faith is made up of those doctrines, yes. But really, it's what you believe plus what you do.
we,
Because your doing is, that's why I love Hebrews 11 that we were just talking about. It has illustration after illustration that Abraham was willing to leave Ur. Abraham trusted that what God said was going to happen and that he's going to make him a great nation. Sarah believed and conceived. I
mhm,
mean, that was action.
yeah.
But then it gets to the internal, and where the internal is what causes the external. In other words, it's what's in our heart that causes us to do these things.
There,
And so I think that's what all I'm getting at is, yeah, faith plus belief or faith plus action equals what you truly believe. Yeah.
Isn't it strange that we can believe that God created heavens and earth?
Hmm.
Jesus
He's
rose
all
from the
powerful.
dead. He
He loves us,
parting the Red Sea.
right?
He loves us. We can believe all that.
But he can't meet my needs.
Then, well, when it comes to meeting my needs, it becomes personal.
Yeah.
that's it.
And
Yeah.
now, are you gonna? I don't know. 'Cause that
Yeah.
now I got
I
emotion
doubt
in
you're going to take care of me in
Well,
that.
yeah, but it seems illogical that you believe he rose from the dead. That should be hard to believe
Yeah.
that God created the heavens and earth. That's wow.
Yeah.
But he
Or that he
can't take
fed
care of my
3
little
million,
financial
3 million Israelites
yeah,
in the desert with
but he can't
bread from heaven.
take care of my financial help me make my house payment.
Yeah.
He
Or help
can't,
me do, yeah, you're right.
um, or rely on transportation. These are
Or
these
I
don't even
can't trust him that
compare.
he's gonna take care of or bring the right person in my
Yeah,
life or
but
that.
but now it's personal. So we can believe in all this stuff that we read. Now I do, but when it comes down to my everyday life, that's where the
Can you put it into
yeah,
action?
yeah.
Belief plus action equals
But
what
isn't
your
that
faith
strange?
is.
Isn't that strange?
Well, yeah, it's kind of what I was when I was thinking about this the other day. It's like I I believe the Bible and I believe all the words in the Bible and all that kind of stuff, and it's easy to maybe not realize that you're just kind of believing it as like really good ancient wisdom that
Or
was
just
yes,
dry
it's
fact.
true. Yes, it's true. It's not it's not real to you.
Yeah.
It becomes real to you when it's your life, your
Right.
situation,
So
and
it's
it could
just
be
dry fact.
that's right. Yeah.
That's what I was getting at
Yeah.
with faith is so much more than just believing the earth is round or is flat,
Mhm.
depending on which camp you're in.
Yeah.
Just knowing facts is not going to get me through that I just got a call that my mom's got cancer.
Yeah.
Just knowing facts is not going to get me through that I've been diagnosed with something I didn't want to be diagnosed with.
Mhm.
Just knowing facts is not going to get me through the phone call that comes in the middle of the night telling me there's been a car accident.
Mhm.
That's not going. You got to know the one who the facts are about, and
Yeah.
that's the whole point of, again, knowing what the truth is, but then knowing the truth.
And that's hard. That has taken me, and I hadn't perfected it. It has taken me a lifetime.
But that's the difference between, and what I said at the end is, it's the difference between a recipe. That's not
And
the
a
recipe
checklist,
for
yeah,
us to a hurting heart or a troubled heart. It's not a recipe. It's a relationship.
yeah,
That's the key.
yeah, and I think that's the maybe even part that can be a little overwhelming sometimes is that relationship, and when it's the conviction maybe of a lack of faith in that is not just knowing that that God can do anything, it's actually the conviction of doubting it and realizing why that he's right here. He's not distant. He's right here and he's challenging you and saying, "Why are you doubting this? Why are you
That's right.
doubting me?" And that's it because it just like I said, when it becomes real and it's not just dry facts, it's like, wow, you really can do anything, and I know you really can do anything, but now I have to trust you to do anything, and it just doesn't feel natural. We want to take control, right? Or we want to worry about it.
You've often asked, what did Jesus criticize the most or condemn the most in the New Testament? We always say hypocrisy, but it's also unbelief.
Yeah.
If you look at he's always getting on the disciples of,
Mhm.
why did you doubt?
Yeah.
I mean, that it's either doubt or it's hypocrisy, unbelief or hypocrisy. I do have one question if I can pose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
just go ahead real quick now. We gotta move.
I received an email yesterday, and the email went something to the extent of this: Ben, enjoyed the sermon. John 14:6 is a very interesting verse. John 14:6 basically says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me." In other words, and I made the point of Jesus is either the only way or he's not a way.
Mhm.
And that's the absoluteness, the universal statement there about who Christ is. Well, his question was, and I think it's a legitimate question. I never thought of it this way. Ben, that is so important. I mean,
Mhm.
let's face
Yeah.
facts. That is a key. That statement alone separates Christ from everything.
Mhm.
Why is that not in Matthew, Mark, or Luke? Why is John the only one that has, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me"? I mean, that seems like that would be an important thing to have in all
And
of them.
and it's not in any other gospel written that way. I mean, that's not
Sort of,
nothing.
yeah.
Is there? I don't know if
Depends
they
on how
wrote
you
that.
wanna define it. I'm gonna tell you what my answer was once I let y'all wrestle with it. But no, there's
So the
no other
question is,
Matthew, Mark, or Luke does not make that kind of statement that I know of.
well, now,
Implied, I would argue.
okay, implied. Just one that I did not know that it wasn't mentioned.
No.
Um, Not that I never thought about it being mentioned. I The other 3 gospels are copies of one of the another, at least 2 of them maybe. John approaches Jesus in a personal knowing Jesus in a more personal, not historical way,
Okay.
and that, there is a lot of things that John says that's done in, all 3 gospels.
Well, and there's a lot of things that are
A
in
lot of good
Mark. Yeah,
teaching I
that's
mean,
right.
not just one. That's just not one of the verses, but John 3:16.
Yeah,
That's in
that's
2
an
of
important.
it's in John, and it's also in First John.
Yeah, but it
And
ain't in Matthew, Mark,
right,
or Luke.
so that's how I would think that it was, written because there wasn't a gospel knowing Jesus as the person,
Right.
as the teacher. These are, Matthew, Mark, and Luke were showing that Christ came and he died on a cross. John's not necessarily taking that route,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I give you some good credit for that. I give you
What
at least
did I
some.
pass?
Oh, you passed. You passed.
Well,
You
am
just
I
need
on
to
the
know
dean's list?
if you do use some terms, you would have got in
If
this
it
list.
oh,
So
it
the
just give me the first 11, and I could have probably made it out.
I'd give you a good B on that, a good solid B. There's a few things you could have. I'll tell you what I
Well,
said
this
in
is
just a
just
minute.
right
I
off
want
the
to see
cuff, and I'm just
if
trying to
Garrett
answer
has
the only
anything you want to
the
add.
only thing I was gonna say was from John 20 where he says, "I wrote these things are written so that you may believe Jesus is the
Exactly.
Christ,
Yeah,
is the
that's
Son of
good.
God," and
Good choice.
that
That's
that was his where the others may have been documenting what had happened in his life. John's sole purpose was that the reader may see that he is the Son of God and the Christ. And
Here's the way it's argued, or here's the way it's usually stated. The first three, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are called the synoptic gospels, meaning seeing the same. And their goal is, Matthew's goal is to prove to the Jew that Jesus is the Messiah. All right. Then Luke's goal was, he wrote to a Greek named Theophilus that, hey, many people have set out to do this. I want you to know the truth. And so he basically is providing the history of Christ. Well, Mark doesn't necessarily give us a purpose statement, but Mark is the same way. And so they're telling us the history of Jesus. Right. He did this, he did this, he did this. John was written much later. And John has a whole different purpose, just like you said, 2031. John is more theological. So John is a theological work versus Matthew, Mark, and Luke is, here are the facts, man.
Yeah.
This is Dragnet. This is Theology 101. Yeah. Big difference. And you don't hear things like being born again in Matthew, Mark, or Luke. You don't hear things like so that you may believe or believing. John sets out to basically, he wants to show you Jesus is the way to the Messiah, and he is the way to God. He does it by the 7 I am statements, the 7 miracles. I mean, there's nothing in order. So you might find something here in the back of John. Really, that was early on. Because all he's doing is just providing a theological work. Now, my argument is yes and no, that it doesn't appear in other places that Jesus is the only way. What's the purpose of Matthew? Matthew sets out to show you that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. He does this by saying he did this to fulfill what is written, or it is written. I mean, sometimes I read Matthew and I'm kind of like, is that really what Zechariah had in mind there when he said? I mean, he will stretch some things, and I'm like, well, Matthew's a Jew. He knows the Jewish, so I'm gonna give it to him. And so, in a way, when Matthew sums up the whole, gets to the end of the book, he has basically said there is but one way to the Father. He is the Jewish Messiah. He fulfills it. Now, he doesn't just state that, but it's implied. That's what I meant. Now, the second gospel of Luke does say there is salvation but by one name by which man can be saved. That's Acts 4:12. Well, Luke is part 1, Acts is part 2, and trooping on, when you put them together, they almost read like
they really do. Book. It's like you.
I'm going to say Luke does say it, but it's part 2 of the gospel, not in part 1. And so I think I think those are the things that I argued and gave him as why. And I said, then there's some things that I would have thought John should have had in there. That, John has at times long discourses of teaching. Man, it sure looks like he would have had a parable in there. He don't have any. So,
but he covered himself by saying there was many more things I could write.
Sure. At the very end,
So
he said no books could contain them.
He has a disclaimer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I could have wrote.
And
honestly,
that contain them. Yeah, that's right.
One thing that can be easy to overlook, and I don't think I'd ever even really thought about it, is the time gap between the first Gospels and when John was written. This is many, many years later. I'm sure he is, by this point in time, probably read Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
I was gonna say that.
Is it around at that time? That
he's had it.
He probably don't want to repeat it.
Yeah, so he's probably
what's that? And I think theology had grown a little bit.
And
I hate to say it that way, but it had. I mean, think about from where Matthew, Mark, and Luke are written to where Paul is now explaining the doctrine of justification and salvation and substitutionary atonement. I don't know that Matthew, Mark, and maybe they got it. John got it because John 1:29 says, behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. No, this is exactly why he came.
Hey, what's the time period of John's writing? Was Revelation the first?
No,
that's the last one.
I would say
first, second, third.
If I'm not mistaken, and you can quote me on, and I may be wrong here. I may put my foot in my mouth. It's either 60 or 80 AD.
No, which ones were written? Which one?
Oh, John was written before Revelation.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, the 1, 2, 3, John and John.
That would have been. I think they're almost in the order as you see them.
Hang Todd, I can tell you. At least I can tell you.
I know.
John should.
According to John MacArthur, at least. Let's see. John was 80 to 90.
80.
Revelation was last.
But what's First John?
90 to 95.
Yep.
Second.
90 to
Same
95,
thing.
all of them.
They're all right there together.
Yeah. John was
So
it's got John at
amazing
80
that
to
Peter-
That's I didn't know if he wrote maybe First John before John.
No. In fact, if you look, a lot of times, First John sure does quote John,
Yeah, well,
or very similar.
or maybe if John quotes First John.
Mm,
What's the difference of the years? See, yeah, so
80 to
you're
90.
just not going to believe that one.
no,
way.
John was written first. I mean, that's
Is that documented, or
that's
is that
pretty much
is that
known.
what?
Ask any church historian; they'll tell you.
I'm
I
not
don't think there's
I'm asking
any
you.
scholar out there that would argue what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I don't know because that wasn't anything on my
Yeah.
mind. I just didn't know.
I think that is a universally accepted statement. John was written first. The book, the Gospel of.
But it's not. It can't be proven one way or the other. I mean,
It probably
don't
can
know.
be.
Oh, would they take samples?
Well, they
Did
would have. Depends
no,
on the where they found the copies of the scrolls of the book of
I
John
got it.
and being able to date it from that. So that's where they would be able to say John was definitely written first before first, second, and third.
So they never found the original.
No, but that's why they're saying when you find a copy, you can be able to tell about when it was dated, depending on what it was with and when it was written.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you can look it up. Do all the that's
yeah.
called textual criticism,
Yeah, I know.
and you'll find John was written before first, second, third.
I'm not really questioning that. I was just
You're
wondering.
not.
Sounds like it.
No, I just
That sounds specifically like what you
No,
don't
I
actually.
just had that.
Sounds like it.
That's not something that's been on
Yeah,
my mind. I just- I-
sounds like you are questioning.
You're asking the same question over and over and over in many, many different ways. It sure sounds like that's the
well, I was
definition.
just wondering.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not
John,
questioning. He was just wondering.
I never thought of it before.
Well, and I think some of the things you can do, and this is, it's not necessarily an argument that proves it, but look at how John addresses himself in First, Second, Third John. He addresses himself as the elder. That's somebody who's kind of been around and the head guy. Where in John, the Gospel of, he addresses himself as the one that Jesus loves, the disciple Jesus loved, and some other.
I always think
things.
that's a little funny.
I
That
think
is
there was-
funny.
Revelation.
Sorry, it's all right. No,
Revelation was the last. But were the God? I knew that was the last book.
right.
But were the Gospels written? And I can't recall. I think Mark
30 A.D.
Mark was written first.
No, not 30.
30 to 60.
Really?
Mark was written first.
I thought it
30
was
years
50.
after Jesus.
30 years after.
Maybe
Yeah, after.
Matthew, but
30
I
years
think
after Christ
Mark
died.
is first. But was Paul's
You're looking
epistles,
50 to 60.
Yeah, 50 to 60.
was Paul's epistles written after the three Gospels?
I think
Yeah.
so. They were in the 60s.
Mhm. I'm pretty certain they are.
I don't know. It's just not something I had.
I think it
About-
would be safe to say usually about 50 AD is Mark,
then-
give or
then
take.
Matthew, then Luke.
And some people would argue Matthew was written first.
Yeah,
he saying?
I've heard that.
Matthew and Mark, you got them both 50 to 60.
Yeah,
And then Galatians was the first.
right. That would be your
Paul's.
first epistle. Which one he give
That was 49 to 50. And then
early on.
When was Matthew written?
50 to 60.
And what's the first epistle?
Well, James is the first book of the Old Testament, 44 to 49, or New Testament,
New
sorry.
Testament.
Yeah, that's
James was the first. I didn't know that.
He's saying what time was that?
that was 44 to 49.
Wow.
I didn't know that one. I thought.
I mean,
Mark
it
was-
could have been, but
I thought Mark was the first one to appear, and questionable with maybe Matthew.
and he's got James, the half brother of Jesus, writing that.
Mhm.
And James, the half brother of Jesus, was not crucified, but persecuted and died by Herod. That would have been that early.
Was that the James or was it the disciple
Most
it-
people put it as Jesus' half brother.
in Acts?
Mhm.
Okay. I thought it was John's brother. I have to look at that. I thought that if he did that, then that was very early.
Well, he's got it as 40.
I thought James was the writer,
Right.
but Jesus' brother. But I thought James was the disciples, the one that Herod killed first after Stephen. You might be right.
I don't. I think
That's
that's
not something I look
think
at.
that's the brother of Jesus. In
On both of them?
Yep.
Right in that. How about that?
well, I will look it up. I'm almost certain it is.
Well, you could be right. I always thought it was, the disciple James.
I like how he gives you credit. You could be right, Pastor.
What was that?
He said, "You could be
Yeah,
right."
I could be. I don't know.
It's not gonna get him to heaven one way.
It ain't gonna give me no points or nothing,
not-
man.
That's just yeah.
He'll get you Kenny points if you're right. Yeah, that's worth something.
Then James, and I don't know where he ended up because I thought Jesus' brother was old Campbell knees. He
Right?
was killed on his knees, but and that's why I think
Okay.
the other James.
So it's James persecuted and killed in Acts. The James persecuted in Acts 12:2 was James the son of Zebedee, known as James the greater. So that is the brother of John, not Jesus'
Yeah,
half
right.
brother. Right.
Okay.
And then James, because he lived longer, wrote Jesus' brother wrote James.
Right.
And let me ask you this: could some of his cousins be the disciples?
That's
I think
possible.
one of them is.
One of Jesus's cousins?
Yeah,
I'm sure it's possible.
maybe his brother Simon. I don't know. I think James the Lesser might be Jesus' cousin somewhere.
So you're saying you think
There's
Simon
just some
could
things.
possibly be related to Jesus?
Yeah. I
I don't think you'd be able to prove it, but
well, I
Yeah.
would prove it. I would probably have to prove it through the
the
many
mothers,
Marys.
Marys and the women.
There's 5. Well, how many Marys are in there? 5.
Right.
A lot of Marys.
Yeah.
And one of them was James, little James's mother. And I don't know which one that was. Yeah. But that was a crucifixion
Yeah.
with his mother Mary.
Yeah. There's a lot of Marys. That can be confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to. I got to look up something that just amazes me.
What's that? Who?
No, nothing about all the names. Everybody's named the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So wow. Okay. I want to look into that because I'm amazed that the book of James was that I knew it was early, but I didn't put it that early. I mean, that's before the Jerusalem Council.
Yeah. 44 to 49 is what it says, is what.
And so maybe that's another way of looking at it, that James wrote basically what James wrote and how he wrote. Man, the whole doctrine of justification by grace through faith. I'm sure he knew it was that, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it had been extrapolated the way it is that Paul did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the whole argument is, well, James just looking at one side of the coin and Paul's looking at the other.
That's how I see it.
But when you read James, it's almost in your face.
Well, I think
It's almost Old Testament Christianity.
I think he takes the
The Old Testament?
no, Paul's writing just expands it.
No, he doesn't.
Moves it
Mm-mm.
more for after faith and just really well, it's gotta be faith. Faith your faith will show your work.
You're saying James takes Paul's writings? He can't?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
No.
saying he starts with Paul at the end of, saved by faith.
Well,
Saved by faith.
if he wrote it that early, he didn't start with
Oh,
anything
yeah, I
with
know,
Paul.
but I didn't know that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that's why I was questioning if James was so early, but he got killed. I didn't think that was the right James.
Let me weigh in here real quick.
Well,
on
I
this,
was
'cause-
amazed. I mean, I'm gonna go and look because that is I don't remember. I know I didn't miss it on my New Testament exam,
What's
the
that?
date of when it was written. So I knew it then, but I thought James was a little bit later than that.
Oh, you talking about when it was written?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about that. I just thought the
Oh, I know
disciple
it
James
is. The
got
only
killed.
reason I said that must be James. I mean, we know most people put it as Jesus' half brother wrote. That's the James.
Yes, right,
Well,
right.
if the James that died early on
I thought that was his
that's
disci
why when I heard 40 AD, I said, "Well, it must be that cat. That
No,
can't be
I
the
didn't.
Jesus' half
I
brother,
think it's actually mentioned in the Bible that it was John's brother
Yeah.
or, one of the
the son of
disciples.
Zebedee."
Because then he went after Peter, I think. I
Yeah.
just
Well, he saw what it did to the
yeah.
folks.
So the whole James versus Paul debate and faith based, works based, or
Yeah. Grace.
yeah, that's something that I hear people debate. That I'm not trying to be confrontational about it, but it's something that I don't think it's really as complicated as we make it out to be. In John 14 alone, I've got, I don't know how many times highlighted, if you love me, you will keep my commands. If you love me, anyone who loves me will keep my word. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. I mean, he says it over and over and over.
No,
So it's not one versus the other. They go together.
That's
You
that's how
can't,
I feel.
it's not a, and I think that the fact that we can be so fractured on that we can debate it so much between different churches and denominations, it's like they go together.
I think I think James is taking faith, saved by faith, and extending it further.
If you don't, if there's no works or no change,
for James, it all goes back to, and again, for Paul, they're both going to use Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where sometimes it comes in, because Paul says, no, Abraham believed and it was reckoned unto him as righteousness. Well, then James is going to argue, no, Abraham was justified by his deeds. Well, wait a minute, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and and so that's where the argument comes in. Oftentimes is where what causes that.
To your point from the sermon, though, it's belief plus action is what
yeah, sure, it's going to show itself out.
And it's if you believe and never take an action, then did you really have the belief? But if you act on a fake belief, then
yeah, right. Why would you act then believe?
It's a circular argument in a way.
I mean, look, if you take James 2:21 out of context, was our father Abraham not justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar?
But
I'm not justified by works.
I don't think he's really, but Abraham was already stepped out in faith when he left a long time ago.
But
if you take that verse out of context,
right,
was he not justified by works?
Well, if you take it out of
justified
context,
by any kind of works. I'm justified by grace through faith.
But it was the action that it was the action that demonstrated the faith.
Right. Well, I mean, but see, that's the argument that they would say is James doesn't necessarily say it that way.
He's not arguing you. He's just arguing their point.
I'm just arguing both sides.
I'm arguing what James says, that I can see where they come and they
say,
but some may say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without works. You believe that God is one. That's good. You do well. The demons who believe also and shudder. But are you willing to acknowledge, you foolish person? So he throws that in for y'all, that faith without works is useless. Was our father Abraham not justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? So, I mean, you could almost, if you stop right there. Wait a minute. Every Sunday, Ben says you can't work yourself into heaven. Ben says that I can't justify myself by works. According to what he just said, if you just take it there. And I think that's where people don't take into the whole, keep going.
Well, Abraham, that's towards the end of his life.
What's
he stepped out
beginning arm? Beginning arm.
He was a prophet. I mean, he stepped out when he left.
But he was justified by his works, is what James said.
So, are you saying that he was not saved till then? That's what.
All James
no, I'm not.
Is saying,
I know you're not saying.
All James is saying is,
I don't you.
It was. We're saying your faith equals belief plus action.
Yeah.
James almost just almost just wants to say, no, it's your actions.
But it just doesn't resonate or make sense. Right?
Remember the analogy?
And that's why it's being written so early that I just don't know the whole doctrine and everything else was even developed. I mean, it's Paul that really develops it and comes back in a little bit later with more.
And then Peter agrees with him because he said, yeah, read Paul's stuff too. They're kind of hard to understand, but
But Peter agreed, but I never heard James do it.
Well, James.
He hadn't had an opportunity to.
He couldn't.
Yeah. But what was the analogy you used in church one time about stepping out on a raggedy bridge over? Yeah. That's I think I'm trying to get at it. It's the stepping out onto that raggedy bridge that demonstrates that you trust it.
Right. But I first got to believe it.
If I'm standing here saying I know that bridge will hold me, but I ain't stepping on it, then it takes that to.
And my whole argument is, James and Paul are looking at the same coin.
Yeah.
One's looking at his,
I don't see a difference personally.
But I can see it being argued, and I can see why you need to be schooled in. How do you explain that? Because if I read James just like I just did and walked away, I'd be like,
Well,
Sounds like I can be.
well, I can take
Well, you shouldn't
James.
cherry pick verses anyway for
I
that one. I
get
mean,
it. I
that's the
get it,
thing.
but that's also something
see,
I got to deal with.
Oh,
Here,
yeah.
if I take James, this is just something I've thought about just a second sitting here. I can take James and I can determine everybody's salvation. I can take Paul's writings and I can't determine anybody's salvation.
Sure you can.
Well, I'm not talking, I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking about by works.
Well,
Okay.
he gave you the
Talking
fruit
about
of the Spirit,
I
didn't
was
he?
going to say, wouldn't Galatians 5 kind of do that?
I'm trying to see, there's some people that,
Wouldn't
well,
Colossians 3 kind of do that?
there's some people I question their salvation,
Okay.
but I don't have
The proof.
no, I don't have the gift. God,
Right.
that's not my,
No, but I'm just saying that Paul
I mean,
does give you some evidences. I do.
yeah, but
I believe he does.
we can, what's the evidence of the guy dying on the cross?
Well, now,
The guy that died on the cross. There were no works.
that's not where this argument started, though. What your statement was is James tells me how I can look and see if someone may be
I
saved.
think so.
Paul doesn't. Sure, Paul does.
But then you added to it. And
No, I didn't add. All I did
Yeah,
is I said, yeah, Paul gives you plenty of evidences. Galatians 5, Colossians 3.
but we really don't know for certain about somebody dying, right?
No, and that's not
That's my point. That's what I was saying. Or
if that's your
somebody,
point. That's
or
your point.
somebody
You weren't
that,
doing a good job
or,
of making it.
or somebody that we see in sin
Yeah,
that we think.
right.
We don't know if they're trying or what they're doing. They fall, that we think that we question their salvation, and we had no right to question their salvation because we don't know if they're trying or not.
Okay. But that ain't where your argument started.
You didn't give me time to finish.
Oh, I think we did. I think we're finished.
I mean, I think.
Well, I'm gonna bring a whistle next time.
I tell you,
If I'm gonna be
you
referee,
guys-
I'm bringing a whistle.
You
You know
guys-
good and well. That's
yeah.
where my man started with James give you evidences and Paul don't. But then it comes
But
back.
then
To,
you-
this is
then
what
you-
I'm arguing.
Then you say this, and I got to come back because that you were missing my point. But y'all got to get it.
It
together.
was me.
Y'all-
It was me missing your point.
I'm glad you finally admit it.
I love it.
Y'all got to
Love
get it
my
together.
man. I love it, man. It's good to be back with you boys.
Yeah,
too,
I
man.
enjoy it. I missed it actually.
I do. I miss it.
He sounds surprised. I
Yeah.
missed it actually.
Yeah.
We got to change locations someday. Maybe
Well, I think we go down to Portsmouth Island.
Well, that'd be fun.
we can't get anything in Portsmouth Island. I mean, you probably won't even be.
We're
able to
not
go to
shooting
the-
live. All we're doing is recording. All you
Can
need
you
is a camera.
record? Oh, you.
There ain't nothing.
They don't have electricity, so if your battery goes down, you're dead.
Well,
So it won't be released
Isn't it?
till I get back. But I mean,
yeah.
it can be done.
We can go to the ice cream shop one day.
Yeah. On
Or
Portsmouth
we can go
Island.
to the ice cream shop here in Fuquay or Andrew if we want to.
Yeah. Where's that ice cream place? I'm thinking of the one at Carolina Beach.
There's a couple.
There's some good.
I'd rather just go to Britt's.
Do you sit at the counter when you go there, or do you
No, normally I get a bag and take it back.
a whole bag? 12?
This
Usually I've got my family.
this is gonna take a while. Bye, y'all.
Your wife's drive home.
Fast, yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with mine. She'd be like, I mean, she would if I got injured down there.
Yeah, I'm just talking about.
But she ain't driving home. I'm pretty much the driver.
I don't listen to the Christian news. That's Bob's or the unsaved, which is CNN. Yeah,
Who's
they're both-
expressing this show?
because those guys, they're for their own skin. 'cause
They are.
They
They are.